Hey everybody, it's Jim here. I'm here with another video for you. This one is going to be different. This is 50 years in film, the recap, my final thoughts, and a special thank you to some very special subscribers. But before we begin, at the end of this video, if you like what you see, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, leave comments below. I would really love to hear from you. Now, I started this project approximately 5.5 months ago, and the whole thing started because I read an article about Blazing Saddles turning 50 this year, and Blazing Saddles is one of my favorite films of all time, and it just kind of led me down a little bit of a rabbit hole. I was looking to see what else was coming out and what else was turning 50 this year, and decided, what the hell, it was a good way to highlight the majority of my collection. I do have other films that were released prior to 1974, of course, but I'd be willing to bet that 90% of my collection on Blu-ray was covered in this series. I just thought it was an interesting way to highlight the films in my collection without actually just doing separate videos with each particular genre or whatever. Although I have mixed some of those in the middle of it as well. One of the things that I realized as I was going through this is Hollywood, to me, has always been a money market. I mean, it's like any business. They're there to make money. But as the decades have gone on, maybe it's just because I'm older and I look at things differently now than when I was a child. But when you look at the movies from the 70s and the 80s, there's a lot more variety. There's a lot more, I don't even know how to put it. Variety is one way of putting it, but just studios in general were more willing to take a risk. Whether it be an original concept or something, a new take on something, for instance. And there was also many, many more films that were lower and medium budget. Nowadays, it seems like everything is a corporate product, whether it's cinematically for the theaters, or for streaming services, or direct-to-video, whatever. But not only that, but the budgets are either now minuscule because of the ways that people can make their own movies now with the digital cameras and editing and everything like that, or they're these inflated IP driven money grabs where, I'm sorry, as much as I love some of these films, I would much rather them spend $200 million that they're focusing on that budget and make 4 middle range budget films. Like I said, lots of trends. And a lot of that has to do with Star Wars and Jaws. They started the whole blockbuster revolution, really. There were obviously many, many huge hits before that, but not summer blockbusters. And the majority of movie studios seem to be driven for their revenue. It seems like most of it's coming from the summer releases or holiday releases, which was always traditionally there for Oscar bait. Believe me, I worked at the theater for years. I know all about that shit. The other thing I've noticed as I was going through this, and again, maybe it's just because I'm a product of my age. I was born in '67, okay? I'm going to be 57 in August. And I worked in a movie theater from '83 to '93. And then I also worked a decade later for another year or so at a different theater. Not only are the majority of my films from the 70s and 80s, but I never really thought of it this way, but the best films are from those 2 decades. There's great stuff throughout. I mean, without a doubt. Even this year, okay? There's a couple of movies that I haven't seen yet, obviously, but I have seen a couple, and for the most part. I haven't seen anything yet that I truly despised, but I haven't seen anything that captured the imagination that I had when I was like in my 20s or even younger. And again, I understand a lot of that has to do with, as you age, you change, you mature, you look at things differently. But think about it. When was the last time you watched a movie that instilled some sort of awe in you? I don't mean, wow, that movie was really good. I mean watching something that made you stand back and just go, wow. For me, honestly, the last time was probably The Matrix. I love Fury Road. I love the Raid movies. I love lots of movies that have come out since then. But it's sad that 25 years ago was the last time that I sat in a movie theater and literally couldn't move because of what I just witnessed. There's been flashes of that through the years since. But that film, without a doubt, had the same impact on me that Star Wars had on me when I was 10. Or that, I don't know, even Close Encounters when I was 10. Raiders of the Lost Ark when I was 14. You know, those types of movies that when you watch it the first time, you know you're seeing something that is going to be in your life for the rest of your life. And unfortunately, the second half of this series, there's still films like that, but they're few and far between, quite honestly. But again, this was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. I put a lot of work into this. Spent a lot of money on this. I bought a lot of movies that, quite honestly, I didn't need to have in my collection, but I wanted to pad the lists. And I more or less made myself stop doing that because, again, I've always been of the firm believer that I will not buy something that I will not watch. I have broken that rule. And some of the movies that I bought would kind of fit into that category because I was trying to fill out filmographies or whatever, okay? But the majority of the movies that I bought, other than something that I just really wanted, was because I wanted to fill up gaps. And that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of glad that this series has come to an end. Because quite frankly, if I keep buying as many movies as I was, my wife will probably divorce my ass. So again, it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. And the comments that I was getting from you guys throughout this whole process has been above and beyond anything I could have possibly have asked for. So bearing that in mind, I'm going to return the favor. I'm going to give some shout outs here to some of my super subscribers and some of my super subscribers that have channels. Now, if I mention you in the super subs and you have a channel and I didn't mention it, please leave it in the comments below and I will leave a link. And I am also going to leave a link on all of these other gentlemen's lists in the description below of their channels, okay? So we're just going to go through this relatively quickly. Sorry, I'm not very cinematic, and with my older age, I'm starting to lose my memory a little bit. So we're going to read this, okay? But from the super subs, and these are in no particular order. So please, if you're first in the list or if you're last in the list, please know in my heart, I care about each and every one of you equally. I love all of you. So, for the super subs, we are making an exception because we are going to mention this one first. Ranger Sly. Ranger Sly has not left the most comments out of all of my subscribers, but he is the one that originally pushed me to continue with this series after the first installment, and has been a very loyal subscriber ever since. So Ranger Sly, excuse me, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Okay, next in no particular order, we're going with Fluorescent Milkshake, Gary Robinson, Paul Wee 1924DUS, Kaiju Ninja 1985, Rudra Rock, Ball 5884. Ball, in the comments, please. Tell me what your name is, mate. It's driving me crazy. You've left more comments than just about anybody, and I still don't know your damn name. Okay? And as a matter of fact, for the rest of you, if you don't mind, please leave your actual first names in the comments so I can start addressing you as such. Okay? But Ball, you're awesome, dude. Davy Dredd. Brian Rasmussen, all the way from Denmark. Brian, keep watching those videos, buddy. I love you, buddy. William Jackson. Indie Phantom Sofa Cinema. I love some of these handles, by the way. And last but not least, Alex Wilson. Now for the subs with the channels, and again, I will be leaving descriptions in the description of the video. I'll be leaving links to their channels. And again, in no particular order, with the exception of the first, who is Eddie at Movie Collector 623. The reason why Eddie is listed first is because Eddie was one of the first channels that I actually followed with Blu-ray collection channels. We started talking back and forth in the comments on his channel. He's the one that recommended that I actually post some videos and show him my collection, and he kind of talked me through it and suggested that I might enjoy it. And here we are, almost 200 videos in. Eddie, thank you, brother. From the UK, we've got Stuart at Stuart George's Home Movies. Also from the UK, we've got Carlos at Eastwood 4 Life Fan. Jeff at 101 Bronson. Jeff's in the Netherlands. Dan at Dan's Movie Cave. The three of them do live streams all the time. They do Q&As once a month. They also do live streams with the three of them, sometimes with another guest, where they talk about a variety of subjects. They usually cover westerns, action movies, all three of them. Fantastic guys. Check their channels out. As a matter of fact, check all of these channels out, please. Okay? But anyways, yeah, Dan, Jeff, and Carlos, all three of you guys, thank you. You guys are awesome. Next, we've got Sean at CinephileSanityTV, and Texas at Texas HXCX1965. And again, along with another fellow Juno, the three of them also run live streams constantly, and all three of them are awesome. Juno, I forgot to write down your information, but I will put it in the comment, in the link in the description below as well. And again, with you three guys, thank you so much for all of your support. Okay, back to the UK. We've got Gareth at VideoTasties. We've got Mark at Bushman Blue. We've got Matt at Matt V's Movies. And then back here in the US, we've got Dan at Mr. Dan in Horror. Mr. Dan is awesome. He's one of my favorites. He's such a great guy. Please check out his stuff. He is awesome. Anthony at Anthony's Horror and More. Daniel at Frank's Collecting Castle. Here's a different one for you. This is not a movie channel. Ricky at the Golden Age of Hard Rock. Ricky is a awesome guy from the States here. He's an ex-Marine. He has a couple of different channels. But if you like classic hard rock from the 80s and 90s, and therefore, you'll love Ricky's channel. He covers a lot of stuff. He's great. We also have Mike at Mike's DVD and Blu-ray collection. And last and certainly not least, Steve at Excelsior Movie Reviews. Again, I'm going to post links to all of these channels in the description. Please check these guys out. Subscribe to their channels. It would mean the world to me because they have shown me support. I'd like to pay it forward. So what's coming up next on the channel? Now that the 50 years of film are over, I'm going to try to do some different things. I'm thinking about a couple of other big projects, but I don't want to go into it now because it's still very early. But I am still going to be posting ranking lists. As a matter of fact, I just did a poll on my community page, and I asked if people wanted to see my top favorite, not best, favorite 20 war films, sequels, or comedies, and war films won. So that will be the next ranking video. I'm also going to be continuing to do my 5 forgotten films to check out. That seems to be doing pretty well. I may also drop off a couple more installments of Why Are These Films Not on Blu-ray? Because that seems to be doing pretty well. And I'm going to throw some curveballs in the mix. One of my big, I guess, areas that I'm most versed in, and that is probably my first love as far as movies go, is horror. I'm not going to be posting any horror stuff until October. And in October, it's going to be nothing but. That's going to be a fun month. I'm also thinking, because it's summertime, I spent a very, very, very large amount of time at the drive-in growing up, from the time I was a child all the way to my early 20s. I think I'm going to start doing a series about my favorite drive-in movies. Not necessarily drive-in movies like bad movies. I mean movies that I saw at the drive-in, and some of my favorite experiences seeing those movies at the drive-in. If that is something that sounds interesting, please leave it in the comments. Another thing I am thinking about doing is doing like a video where I put a poll up or a post up and say, ask me anything. And the best 20 questions I will answer. They could be movie related, they could be not movie related. The only prerequisites involved, I will not tackle anything to do with politics or religion. Those two topics are completely verboten because it causes too much headache. So I think that's about it. I think I've rambled on. This is probably the longest I have spent on camera on my channel. I know it is. We're 17 minutes in, but again, I just wanted to thank all of you. If I didn't mention you in the video, trust me, I still appreciate everything in all the comments and all the time that you've been watching my videos. It means the world to me. So until the next time, I hope everybody's doing great. We'll see you on the next one.